Hi there. I wanted to share a funny story with you. And that is that I didn't even know I was an empath until somebody else pointed it out to me. And I was in my 30s. I had no idea it was a thing. I just thought that being anxious and oversensitive was part of my makeup and something that I had to deal with. But now I know being an empath is a wonderful thing in a crazy world, and it gets to be a superpower when you know how to work with it. So I want to do for you what one of my mentors did for me, which was to help me finally figure out I was an empath. So I'm going to ask you 7 questions in no particular order to help you figure out if you are an empath as well. But first, if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel if you think you're an empath or know you're an empath and interested in elevating your mind, body, and spirit and feel good while doing it, I would appreciate that. Okay, so first question, do you have strong intuition? Intuition is defined as the ability to know or to understand something without proof. So call it a gut feeling, a clear knowing, a strong nudge, those types of things. Oftentimes what is actually happening is that your senses are picking up on subtle information, aka energy, that is being processed by more than just your 5 physical senses. Sometimes I call these spidey senses. Everybody's intuition works a bit differently. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all ability, but being able to understand how your body interprets that subtle energy is something that you can practice so your intuition becomes stronger. Second question, do you feel different emotions with different people? Do you find yourself aggravated around a particular person even though you weren't aggravated before? Or maybe do you find yourself sad around a particular person even though you weren't sad before you interacted with them? As an empath, it's easy to become an emotional chameleon, meaning you're always acclimating your emotions to the other people around you. This is what I call an emotional hijack, and it's definitely not a fun roller coaster ride to be on. And more importantly, it robs you of your personal power and your ability to feel your own emotions. Third question, do you find yourself overwhelmed when you're in busy, crowded places? You're not sure why, but being in these spaces does not make you feel good. There's a range of physical sensations that are pretty common in empaths that range from general uneasiness, anxiety, or like right on to full-on headaches and nausea. Having a physical reaction to the energy held by certain environments or certain people is common when you don't know how to protect your energy or manage your energy appropriately. And before I go on, let me remind you of the Empowered Empath course. It's a self-paced course that I made in 2020 when the world was losing their mind. This course is a compilation of all the things I've used over the years to manage my energy and emotions, deepen my intuition, and be sovereign so that I wasn't absorbing whatever was happening around me. And this is really important for empaths. I'll include that information below if you want to check it out. Fourth question, do you have a creative mind? And when I say creative mind, the creative activities like playing music, dancing, creating art, writing, it can mean anything, maybe not in the mainstream, like being really into fantasy or sci-fi or puzzles, or just things that promote a sense of discovery and newness in you. This could also include intense daydreaming or having an imaginary friend as a child. Fifth question, do some people make you feel weirdly uncomfortable and you're not sure why? You know those type of people that you meet and they're all smiles and handshakes, but you know there's something off about them and you can't quite put your finger on it. You may get an immediate headache or maybe a pit in your stomach. Maybe you have issues like stumbling over your words, or you just may feel completely repulsed by them. It happens. And if you're an empath, you're picking up on more than just the outward body language. You're sensing a stronger energy that is actually a truer representation of who that person actually is. Sixth question, do you notice things that other people don't? Like I alluded to earlier, as an empath, you are way more aware of the presence of subtle information. For example, when you're talking to somebody, maybe it's a slight quiver in the voice, a slight flush in the cheeks, a subtle muscle twitch that you pick up on, that you notice, that somebody else doesn't. Or maybe you're with a group of people and you notice a sudden raising in the tension or raising in the volume of somebody's voice. And yes, these are all physical outer changes, but you, empath, you notice how they affect other people or the energy in the environment. Okay, 7th and final question. Do people tend to come to you with their problems? Good Lord. As an empath, it's like people can sense your helpful and caring and sensitive heart a mile away. An innate interest in people's well-being, wanting folks to be okay, is an empath trait. Many empaths are doctors, counselors, therapists, humanitarians of all kinds. We have big hearts, and whether it is friends or family or total strangers, they can sense that. I've had people in grocery stores approach me and tell me their whole life story and want my advice, and I'm like, this is not the time. However, there is or can be a time for that. And this is why boundaries for everybody, but especially empaths, are extremely important. If you've answered yes to 4 or more of these, then yay! Congratulations, you're probably a beautiful empath. If you're an empath and wanting to learn more about yourself or how to practice emotional and energetic sovereignty, please subscribe to my channel and check out the Empowered Empath course below. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you in the next video.